Hey guys, and welcome to QualityShot. Right, the WTA Miami Masters final is here, and it's an absolute cracker. Naomi Osaka versus Iga Swiatek. I mean, could we have asked for a better final? I don't think so, to be perfectly honest with you. With Barty retiring recently, this is, for me personally, one of the best matchups we could have gotten. So I'm really, really happy to get it. Very, very happy. And considering how well all of these people, well, sorry, both these players have been playing, Swiatek is unbeaten in Masters 1000 tournaments so far. She hasn't looked at all like getting beaten, to be fair, this whole Miami tournament. Could she do the Sunshine Double after winning Indian Wells with such a short turnaround? You would have thought she would have some type of fatigue or a little bit of drop in form. Not to be. She has been relentless throughout this whole tournament so far. And Naomi Osaka, on the other hand, let's be honest. I mean, a lot of people were thinking, when is she going to come back into form? Well, she answered those people's questions in Miami in this tournament, playing some fantastic tennis, looking as good as she's looked since playing and winning her 4 Grand Slam titles. In her last match against Bencic, the Olympic gold medalist, she hit 18 aces, looks so good on serve. The backhand is firing beautifully, and her backhand, when on song, is one of the best on tour. And her ground strokes generally just power personified, great placement, great depth. And she is one of the elite baseliners of this generation, is Naomi Osaka. Iga Swiatek, her game is just pieced together really nicely. In the start of 2022, to be perfectly honest with you, it's been a really, really good. I think it's been a fantastic start, really, in 2022 for her. Yes, she would have been disappointed not to make the Australian Open final, playing and losing to Danielle Collins in the semi-finals of that Grand Slam. But since then, she's been imperious, winning Doha, Indian Wells, and now in the final of this tournament. Who's going to win? For me, it's a complete 50-50. It really is. The head-to-head is 1-0 to Osaka. So Osaka has the only win and only match play between the two. That was at the Canadian Masters in 2019. A straight set victory, but not much to take from that. Osaka is slightly older than Swiatek, and Swiatek at only 20 years of age would have only been 17 then. So not a lot really to take from it. She's improved drastically as a hard court player. At first seen really as a clay courter predominantly, and not seen as someone who would be able to dominate on the hard courts. She's completely dispelled those myths and just said, look, I'm a fantastic all court player and I can play on any surface. I'm good enough too. And she's really stepped up to the plate. She is the current world number one. I know here it says here WTA number 2, but the live ranking, she is number 1. She will be after this tournament. Ashley Barty, of course, retiring. Naomi Osaka, you can only imagine, will start to rise up through the rankings again. And we know she's a top 3 player, to be perfectly honest with you. She just has had a loss of form and also a lack of also participation in events because of mental health issues, which is never great to hear or see a player go through. So good to see her back on court. In terms of the actual matchup as well and how I see it going, I think it's a really intriguing one. And a lot of this might come down to the serve return dynamic, to be perfectly honest with you. I know the even in Miami are relatively slow and high bouncing, such as Indian Wells, but it's still a hard court at the end of the day, and movement is really key. And Osaka moves best on hard courts. She's at home and very comfortable on the hard courts. For Swiatek, she's a fantastic clay court player, and yes, these courts are playing similar to clay, but the movement is very different. However, she is moving very well on the court, so that kind of then cancels it out. The biggest thing for me will be how does Swiatek battle against or really fight against that Osaka serve, because if she serves like she did against Bencic, it's going to be a very, very tough ask to get a break of serve, to be perfectly honest with you. Osaka serving 18 aces in those 2 sets, in those 3 sets, even against Bencic. And you just feel that Osaka, if she has a very good serving day, it's going to be really tough for Swiatek, especially with Osaka's 1+ play behind the serve. Normally, it ends up being a fantastic ground stroke, deep and powerful, because most of the time, if she's made her first serve, the opponent's not getting that back with a lot on it or a lot of depth on it anyway. And she then adds to that return with interest. So she is a phenomenal player, Osaka, the Japanese superstar. And I think talent-wise, she is one of the most talented on tour. But I tell you what, we cannot sleep on Swiatek, because returning-wise, she's not a bad returner whatsoever. So that's why I feel like that's the service games on Osaka serve could be very interesting. Swiatek, especially on the backhand, is very solid on the returns. And the forehand has looked very good as well. She's managed to dictate with it throughout this whole year for the most part. It's looked very, very good. Whereas last year she had some issues with it. I think technically it's not the most orthodox in terms of technique, but we've seen with someone, for example, like Medvedev, you don't necessarily need to have the most orthodox technique. It just needs to be something that is repeatable and works for you, and you're able to replicate time and time and time again, and you're able to have success with and easily find timing from it. And Swiatek, I think, has proven that. The forehands look much better. She's been striking the ball a lot cleaner. And I think it's more the mental side of things, the grit and determination she's shown in the clutch points. She has been clutch in the pressure points, has Swiatek, and that has been the most impressive thing for me. And you can just imagine mentally, she is so strong at the moment. She really does seem it on the court. And you just feel that if it gets to those really, really crucial points, she could potentially have the upper edge. But for Osaka, there's definitely an opportunity to blow Swiatek away. But if she does, she's going to have to play some of her best tennis, to say the least. She has the potential to blow Swiatek off the court. But similarly, Swiatek has the consistency and I think the tennis IQ to get Osaka into uncomfortable positions. And that's what Swiatek should be looking to do. Make Osaka move a lot for one. Because Osaka, I think one of the weaknesses in the game is her movement. She doesn't move badly on hard courts, but it's not something that you would say is a huge positive in her game. The striking of the tennis ball, her serve, her ability to hit the ball deep, and the kind of the velocity behind the ground strokes, fantastic. But in terms of movement, specifically up and down and side to side, you wouldn't say she's one of the best movers in the women's game. Swiatek is one of the best movers in the women's game for me. And she can definitely, I think, take Osaka into deep waters. And if she does, the longer the rally goes on, the more you feel that Swiatek will have a better chance of winning that point. Osaka is, is able to keep with people for long periods of time, but Swiatek has a type of consistency that you would imagine will outlast someone like Osaka. Osaka doesn't want to be in rallies longer than 9 shots. She wants to be getting the point done and dusted by that point. So another, I guess, option for Osaka is to potentially serve and volley, but she doesn't really volley too much. Swiatek has actually had a more diverse approach to her game recently. She has volleyed on occasion, hitting approach shots. That is a little bit of for me anyway, it's a bit of a risky strategy against Osaka. The approach shot has to be really good because Osaka, she hits the ball so cleanly and she passes people with ease at times. And you just feel that Swiatek has to be really solid and then composed coming to the net as well. And it has to be approaching to the right shots. And an execution on those approach shots is just crucial if she is going to employ that. But she needs to use her angles. Osaka as well finds fantastic angles. That's something that is so unique to her game. But Swiatek is similar. She's able to find these fantastic angles, especially on the backhand, which is a bit flatter at times. She's able to find fantastic angles cross court. That's what she needs to be trying to utilize, because Osaka running, to her left on her backhand side, and then also having to kind of hit an awkward backhand low at her ankles potentially. It's not ideal, and it will put her in an uncomfortable position. And that's how Swiatek, for me, wins, is by serving one consistently, returning a lot of balls back in the court, making sure that she makes Osaka play as many balls as possible, and then also using her angles, using her ability to hit the ball deep and cleanly, but also sticking with Osaka in the rallies, not giving anything easy, cutting out any unforced errors, just playing very, very consistent tennis. And if she plays consistent tennis, it'll take Osaka playing at a very high level to then beat Swiatek. If that happens, Swiatek might say fair enough. Of course, as well, as always in tennis, it comes down to the pressure points as well. Sometimes you can win more points than your opponent, but still lose the match. So, how both players manage those big points will be crucial as well. For Osaka, for me, she has to be, I think, mentally calm. She needs to serve well. She serves well on the first serve. She's got a very good chance of winning, making a lot of first serves in the 1+ shot. If she's backing it up nicely, as she has been throughout the tournament, then it's going to be very hard to break her. And then on returns, I think she said she's been working on her return a lot, trying to step into the court more. Against Swiatek, the second service is actually quite weak. So that's something she will be able to potentially attack, and I'm sure she will try to. That is something that Swiatek's going to have to look out for, because she will have to try and make as many first serves as possible, because she won't be wanting Osaka stepping in on her second serve and potentially hitting return winners or putting the Polish player on the back foot straight away. So that's another big opportunity for Osaka. And then for me, it's, can she break down the Swiatek forehand to forehand? She will definitely fancy herself in that exchange. Even in the backhand to backhand, she'll probably feel that I've got the bigger weapons. I just need to make sure that, okay, yes, I don't want the rally to go longer than 9 shots, but I also don't want to be going too close to the lines that I'm making too many unforced errors. So it's going to be a balancing act for Osaka for sure. But she plays how she has been playing, and I think it will be difficult for Swiatek, but Swiatek has been in phenomenal form. She really has been. So as you can tell, I'm very much in two minds about it. I'm going to go. It's really tough. I'm going to go Osaka in 3 sets, but with absolutely no confidence whatsoever. I could easily see Swiatek winning. I really could. She's just been playing so well. Let's see. Let's see how it goes. But very much looking forward to this one. I do think it could be a question of a couple of points swinging either way, and that would potentially decide the match. That's how I feel. I could see a tiebreaker, even 2 potentially. So very much looking forward to this. Thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. Do appreciate it. Please remember to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And I genuinely implore you, if you're not already planning on watching this, make sure you do, because I think it's going to be a cracker. I really do. Thank you very much, guys. Stay safe and well, and I'll see you on the next.